Okay, we're ready to get started. If all the board members can please make sure you have your microphones on. Okay, good evening. The hour being 6:30 PM on Monday, January 27th, 2025. I'd like to call to order the Village of Brookfield Board meeting. Would everyone please join me in a pledge of allegiance to the flag?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Bridget, can we have a roll call, please?
Trustee Ketchmark?
Here.
Trustee Cote?
Here.
Trustee Hendricks?
Here.
Trustee Narimatsu?
Here.
Trustee Gilhooley?
Here.
Trustee Kaluzny?
Here.
And President Garvey.
Here. Thank you, Bridget. We do have one proclamation that I was going to read about one of our neighboring towns, but before I did that, it's with some sadness that I was informed today, unfortunately, that Ken Getty, the former mayor of Lyons, passed away this week. He's the father of the current mayor, Chris Getty of Lyons. So on behalf of myself and the village board, I'd like to offer my condolences to Mayor Getty and his family. Their services information will be shared with the board through the West Central Municipal Conference, but I believe there's a wake next Tuesday and a funeral next Friday. So again, our condolences to the Village of Lyons and the Getty family. And happier news on one of our other neighbors. We have a proclamation to read on behalf of our older sister in the village of Riverside. Earlier this month, I was fortunate enough to be invited and attended a celebration as Riverside kicked off their 150th anniversary celebration. It's a year-long celebration, and they decided to kick it off on, I think, the coldest night of the year outside by lighting up the water tower, the historic water tower. And I don't know if you've seen the logo, the 150th anniversary logo, but they had a ceremony outside lighting up the logo, the light that shines on the water tower for the 150th anniversary. But there's going to be other events throughout the entire year, including at some point this summer, there's going to be a time capsule that's going to be buried. And we're doing a proclamation tonight that I was told would be included and put away in that capsule to be opened in the future. So I'd like to read that proclamation now, congratulating the Village of Riverside on the occasion of its 150th anniversary. Whereas Riverside was founded by the Riverside Improvement Company in 1868 and hired renowned landscape architect Frederick Law Olmsted and his partner Calvert Vox to design Riverside's general plan. And whereas Riverside's Improvement Company's original ambitions for Riverside and Olmsted's general plan included all of what is now Brookfield east of Saw Creek, and whereas in 1875 Riverside was incorporated as a village in the state of Illinois after a vote of the residents of Riverside, and whereas subsequent village leaders and residents have endeavored to maintain Olmsted's general plan and his landscape design principles, ensuring Riverside has remained Olmsted's village in the forest, and whereas as a result of the unrelenting care and faithfulness in maintaining Olmsted's landscape vision that in 1969 the state of Illinois designated the Riverside Landscape Architectural District and the Village of Riverside was placed on the National Register of Historic Places. Whereas in 1970, the National Park Service, the United States Department of the Interior, designated the Village of Riverside a National Historic Landmark for its landscape design. And whereas Riverside leaders and residents have succeeded in maintaining Riverside's Olmstedian principles and national landmark status as the village reaches its 150th anniversary. Now, therefore, be it resolved that I, Michael J. Garvey, on behalf of all the residents of Brookfield, do hereby congratulate Village of Riverside on reaching its sesquicentennial as a village in the state of Illinois and for safeguarding its continued status as a national landmark community. And I'm honored to sign this, and Bridget will sign this. We'll put the village seal on it, and I will present an original to the Village of Riverside and Mayor Pollock, and congratulations to Riverside as they celebrate throughout the year. I offered our assistance in anything they're doing throughout the year, so 150 years is a big deal, and like I said, they're our older sister. We're younger than them, so much younger sister. So congratulations to the Village of Riverside. That's all the items we have on our appointments and presentations. This evening, we do have the required public hearing for the appropriations ordinance. So at 6:35, I'd like to call to order the Village of Brookfield public hearing for the appropriations ordinance. Bridget, can we have a roll call for this, please?
Trustee Ketchmark?
Here.
Trustee Cote?
Here.
Trustee Hendricks?
Here.
Trustee Narimatsu?
Here.
Trustee Gilhooley?
Here.
Trustee Kaluzny?
Here.
Okay. So at this point, I'm going to ask staff to make a brief presentation of the 2025 appropriations ordinance. This has obviously been discussed previously by the board through the budget process and the tax levy process, but I'm going to turn it over to Doug Cooper, our finance director, to make a presentation to the board and public at this time. Thank you, Doug.
You're welcome. Thank you. I turned it off. I really don't know how to work this. Yeah, there's only 3 of them. Okay, so this is the 2025 appropriations public hearing. State law does require the adoption of an appropriations ordinance for the village. It represents the total legal spending authority of the village. We're required to file it with the county, so this is our legal authority. If the spending does exceed the appropriated amount, the village does review this year-end, and that's why we have the supplemental appropriations at year-end. Sometimes if it's a bigger appropriations in the middle of the year, supplemental, we'll do it at that time of spending. But so this does get eventually filed with the county. In December, we adopted our annual 2025 budget, and the appropriations ordinance, which is being presented tonight, mirrors that budget in whole. The village does include the library appropriations. By state law, we're required to, and the village. And there's the breakout of the numbers. Estimated revenues, which we're required to file for the village, is $76 million. For the library, it's $2.9 million. Total estimated revenues to be filed are $79 million. The appropriations on the bottom there, $66 million for the village for all funds, and then another $4 million for the library, for a total appropriations of $71 million, which is what we will be.
Sir, comments related to the appropriation ordinance? Okay, hearing no comments, I'm going to open it up to public comment. At this point, public comment is just related. Seeing none, is there anybody on this side that wants to comment on the appropriations ordinance? Okay, hearing no public comment, all persons desiring to be heard have been given an opportunity to present testimony with the respect.
So moved.
Second.
The motion to adjourn was made by trustee Cote, second by trustee.
Kaluzny?
Aye.
Motion passes.
Thank you. The public hearing for the appropriations ordinance is adjourned at 6:38. Yes, sir, if you could please come to the microphone and give us your name.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Jim Carlson. I don't know if people normally do this, but we came by to say thank you. Over a year ago, myself and Jose came and expressed some concerns about a situation that was happening at a business very close to our home. And we wanted to personally thank Tim Weiber, Stevie, Megan, Paul Trudeau, Jordan Eisenberg, Chief Corvia, and of course you, President Garvey, for all the assistance that you gave us in this matter. It's not perfect, but things are much, much, much better. And we just wanted to come in and say thank you, thank you, thank you for your support and the ongoing, we see you, everything you guys do, and we just wanted to say thanks. That's why we came.
It's very nice of you to come out. Thank you. We appreciate you coming forward and pointing these things out, and we appreciated the trust that we had to go through a certain process to make things, and that will continue to be ongoing, so hopefully things will be good. But
We have to go, but
very nice of you to come out. Thank you so much. Anyone else on this side have any public comment? Mr. Clark?
I just want you to know that That's Plus is having a fundraiser February 2nd at the William Tell Restaurant. It's a soup that starts at 4 o'clock and it runs till 7 o'clock. The cost is only $25 a year, but you get soup and sandwiches and everything.
It's a great cause. We're going to, some of us,
It's a great call. It's
Yes.
helped me out tremendously.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Clark. Well, some of us are going to try and stop by. It's a busy couple of days with a lot of events, but thanks for pointing it out. Anyone else on this side have any public comment? Okay, hearing no further public comment, we'll move on to reports of special committees, please. Trustee Cote?
I would like to make a motion to approve corporate warrant dated January 26, 2025, in the amount of $3,946,999.73.
Second.
The motion was made by trustee Cote, second by trustee Kaluzny. Any highlights, trustee Cote?
Yes, 61% of this warrant is for infrastructure costs for the lead service and water line replacements. Though it's being approved on this warrant, that check won't be cut for several weeks while all the other processes are going through. We do expect our first portion of property tax from the state to come in before the check is cut. But make note, though, that these are going to be covered by the IEPA loans, so we're expecting that money to come in as well. So there's a loan, separate loan for the water line replacement and for the lead service line.
Any questions or comments from the board members related to the warrant? Okay, hearing none, roll call, please.
Trustee Ketchmark?
Aye.
Trustee Cote?
Aye.
Trustee Hendricks?
Aye.
Trustee Narimatsu?
Aye.
Trustee Gilhooley?
Aye.
Trustee Kaluzny?
Aye.
Motion passes.
And speaking of water lines, in regards of DPW, they were busy. Their utilities division was very busy repairing 3 water main lines last week, 3 water main breaks last week. If you wish to receive email updates, you may have already do this, but if you don't already get updates regarding these kind of emergencies and these kind of items that come through, you can go to the village website and sign up for the e-newsletter, or you can sign up for the emergency information, emergency alert platform. So you can sign up for both of those. They're on the homepage of the village website. And you can get these notices and notifications, emails, et cetera, when there are water main breaks, and so that you know all the going-ons in the village. It includes everything that you would also get notified of the Parks and Rec Foundation. You would get notified of other public interest. It's a good thing to know. You'll get this, I believe it's weekly. Right? You'll get a notification every week of things that are going on in the village, including the things that DPW does. If you do see something in town that you want to be addressed, the best way to do that is through the See-Click Fix program. You can access this also through the village website, or you can download the app on your phone. In regards to the library, a note for the public, the Board of Trustee meetings for the library usually started at 7 o'clock on the 4th Wednesday of each month. Beginning this past Wednesday, they've been moved to 6:30. So library meetings are now at 6:30 p.m. on the 4th Wednesday of each month. Upcoming event, not this upcoming Saturday. Saturday, the February 8th, the library will host a Medicare seminar at 10:30 a.m. It's like 10:30 to 12:30. You can learn about the Medicare insurance programs. They will review Medicare Part A, Part B, supplemental plan, Part D, drug plans, and the Medicare Advantage plans. Please go to the village website. Seating will be limited, so you can register for the event. If you want to know about any other items that the library is doing, please visit their website. If you are in need of assistance with food, there are food pantries in town. Share Food, Share Love is open tomorrow and every Tuesday evening from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. They are always looking for help and assistance. So if you want to do something larger than what you're doing now, please reach out to them for their volunteer opportunities. If you are a veteran, the Veterans Assistance Commission of Cook County offers help for veterans who need help making rent, mortgage, electricity, and gas bills. They're open 8:30 to 4:30 Monday through Friday. You can go to the Cook County website, choose Veterans Affairs, and you can get details there. Or you can go to our website and go to the community part, and you'll find details on how to get to the Veterans Assistance Commission of Cook County. If you don't have a computer, you can go to Linda Sokol Francis Library, and they will loan you a computer. And you can look it up that way. If you have a computer but you don't have Wi-Fi at home, the library does have Wi-Fi hotspots that they do lend out for short periods of time so that you can also have free internet at home. And that concludes my report.
Thank you very much, trustee Cote. Trustee Gilhooley, Chamber of Commerce, please.
Yes, the Chamber of Commerce has an event coming up this Sunday, February 2nd. This is the annual Valentine Senior Social. And this year it is being hosted at St. Paul's Lutheran Church this Sunday, February 2nd from 1 to 3 p.m. This event is put on by a number of sponsors in the community: the Brookfield Aging Well Team, Cantada Adult Life Services, Edward Jones of Brookfield, First National Bank of Brookfield, Hitzman Funeral Home and Cremation Services, and the Montessori Children's Community are all Valentine social sponsors. There is a registration fee of $5 per person. That's to reserve your spot. The event is limited to 120 attendees. It's pretty popular. Registration closes this Wednesday at the 29th. So if you haven't signed up yet, please go to the brookfieldchamber.net website and do that. And if you can also email the Hitzmans directly to get your registration in. And if you need any help with doing that, you can also go to the library and use a free computer there in order to go ahead and register. And if anybody's here and would like some help, I'm happy to help with that as well. So I look forward to it. I know a number of us look forward to attending that next week as well. I wanted to just say two other things. One, the applications are still open for the Brookfield Shops at Progress Park. So if you have a small burgeoning business that you want to house at the new Brookfield Shops, please submit your application through the Brookfield, through the village website. We've got our own website too for the whole village shops, but you can find everything through the village webpage as well, and on all of our Facebook. So I will let Trustee Ketchmark catch you up on more details on where we are with that program right now, but it's moving along really nicely. But we would love to see some more applications come in. And finally, on a mental health perspective, I'm a commissioner on the Proviso Township Mental Health Commission. And since Mr. Clark brought up Beds Plus, they are one of the agencies that the Mental Health Commission supports. They do have that fundraiser coming up next Sunday also in the afternoon. It's an annual fundraiser they do. So highly encourage people to go check out the Beds Plus website to attend that and help support that great organization. The Mental Health Commission just had their annual holiday workshop, which was a fantastic opportunity to be able to meet people from all the different agencies. I talked to people from who are managing and administrating NAMI, Community Support Services, Beds Plus, Seguin. There was a member from the Community Memorial Foundation there who offers a lot of funding for different agencies and programs as well. So it was a really great event and being able to get to know these agencies that serve our community so much better. If you need any help, any kind of mental health services, we do support developmental disabilities, domestic violence, homeless and food pantry needs, mental health, senior care, substance abuse, youth prevention, and crisis hotline. Anything in any of those categories, the Mental Health Commission supports. And if you're in any need, you can call 708-234-TALK, and you'll get put through to someone right away. So 708-234, it's 8255. So a lot of organizations, they're ready to help out. And that ends my report.
Thank you, Trustee Gilhooley. Trustee Hendricks, Planning and Zoning.
The Planning and Zoning Commission met this past Thursday for the first time in several months, and they were busy. There were 3 cases. The first was a sign variance for 9,000 Ogden Avenue Castle Motors, and that was continued. The second case was a a special use for a retail establishment that would like to have massage as an ancillary use. That was recommended to be passed on to us, which I think would be the next meeting. And the last is the text amendment that we will be discussing during Committee of the Whole. That ends my report.
Thank you, Trustee Hendricks. Trustee Ketchmark, Administration, Economic Development.
Several items to update on. Economic Development Commission met a couple weeks ago. In terms of the Brookfield shops, there has now been 2 in-person informational meetings, 1 virtual informational meeting last week. Currently, there are 8 applicants for the 6 shops, still seeking additional applicants. The deadline has been extended through February 15th. There are currently 5 juror applications in. There are still opportunities for additional jurors on that. Sponsorship is still being sought out. As the weather starts to break, work will continue on the electricity, the ADA ramps, signage, et cetera. So things are really moving along on that. Another item discussed was the Shop Local gift card. If you remember, we started that about 15 months ago, and it was meant to be basically a debit card that would work at any business in Brookfield that accepts credit cards, debit cards. It seems like the intent of that kind of had gone a little astray in that some businesses were buying the cards to sell them and then being stuck with the cards. I'm not sure why that happened that way. There was an issue with the vendor. Initially, you could buy the card as a hard card. You could come to the Village Hall and you want to put $100 on the card. You could do that right here at Village Hall. Or you could get an electronic card. An electronic card would simply be the number to use. There was some issue with the vendor, and they stopped issuing the hard cards and were issuing electronic cards. And as the commission discussed, that doesn't work well too good when you go into a business and you need to have the electronic number with you to use it there. So this whole idea is being looked at again, or possibly with different vendors on it. Seemed the intent of the initial idea was great. Could shop anywhere in Brookfield with it, but it's kind of gone off straight a little. Then there was discussion on branding, and in particular on banners and the Village of Brookfield logo and seal. The banners was continued discussion that the commission started last summer. There was some discussion on timing, a lot of input on what doesn't work with the banners. Part of the commission isn't overly supportive of the banners. There wasn't any discussion on the different districts. I'm not sure what the next step is on this. It would seem like, the village should be looking to hire a graphic designer or working directly with the banner company to come up with the designs. Each district is different, so what we would do on Ogden, you have single post banners on Ogden. On Ogden, speed limit 30, you have your banners on Grand Boulevard, which are two banners per pole, and a much lower speed, much more pedestrian. And then you have Broadway, which is kind of in between, but Broadway also has double banners in some areas and single banners on the other. So there's a lot of little different parts to this. I think as the commission discussed and staff had recommended, maybe possibly looking at 4 changeouts on it. But again, I think bringing in a graphic designer to put the ideas together on this would probably be a good approach. I certainly would like to see final design of the banners come before the board, before they get printed and put up. We've had some banners that we might not necessarily agree with that have been done in the past year. And then there was discussion on the Village of Brookfield logo or the seal. If there was a lot of initial discussion on what the board, or the commission was being asked to consider. They came up with ideas of what possibly to include in that, such as, the zoo not being the focus, the banner being more, or the logo being more current, maybe including the creek, not dating it, making it classic and simple. It should stand the test of time. It should show community assets, yet be generic. A million different views on it. Again, I'm not sure this is something that the Economic Development Commission alone should be tasked with. This board, previous board last discussed this, I think, in 2020, just prior to COVID, and then everything stopped on it. Maybe all commissions have some input on it, and again, back to a designer to put something together. But the logo we have now has been here for 60 years. I think we had, agreement amongst the majority of the board that it was time to move on from that. But I think we want something that's going to last a long time, again, too. So I'm not sure what the last steps are, but I don't think this is something that can simply come out of, economic development. Here's our logo. And that concludes my report.
Thank you. I'll poll the board, and we'll talk about maybe committeeing some of these items at the board level. It gets, better direction from the board in terms of which way to go with the recommendation from staff. But I appreciate the updates and the information and the time spent by the commission on this. Trustee Narimatsu, Parks and Recreation.
Thank you. There are day off camps available for families who need it for President's Day and for spring break. You can sign up on the Parks and Rec Department website. And just wanted to re-announce summer camp registration is opening March 3rd for residents and the 24th for non-residents. And then pavilion rentals are ongoing currently. I also wanted to report out a little bit on the community center open house that we had last week. The commissioner met and got a presentation and had some great feedback that I will defer all that substantive conversation to the community of the whole. But I just wanted to thank the community for coming out on last Wednesday to the open house itself and hearing about the community center. I think it was a great turnout. And I also wanted to thank the Parks and Rec Department for helping to organize the event and also getting the word out because we had a lot of people. And I hope people are excited about it. And then I just wanted to quickly announce that Brookfield Parks and Recreation Foundation is having a fundraiser on Friday, March 7th at Joe's Saloon, so you can pencil that in your calendar. I think the link is live, and I think that's available on the Facebook page for the foundation. And then lastly, the next Parks and Rec Commission meeting is Tuesday, February 18th at 6:30 here at Village Hall. That ends my report.
Thank you. Trustee Kaluzny, Conservation and Beautification.
Yes, the Conservation Commission has not met since our last meeting, but they did have a really well-attended lead line education event at the library a couple of weeks ago. And just wanted to thank the commission for putting that together and also staff and Hancock for supporting that event, making sure we had all the right information, lots of great questions from what I hear, and really well attended. So they are excited to continue partnering with the library. It's a nice way to get the word out to residents about upcoming programs and educate our residents. The next one they're looking at is for April around recycling and not wish cycling. So I'm definitely signing up the rest of my family because they have trouble figuring out what goes in which bin at my house. So we'll report more on when that event is scheduled, and again, appreciate the support from the library to do joint events. Their next meeting is going to be moved out a week to next Tuesday, February 4th at 6 p.m. here in Village Hall. The Beautification Commission has not met since I last reported, and their next meeting is March 4th at 6:30 p.m. here at Village Hall. That ends my report.
Thank you. And I wanted to add my thanks to the Conservation Commission. I was able to attend part of the meeting, but there was several events that night, and I know a lot of time and planning went into that, and Hancock and staff. I want to thank Tim for coming out that night and fielding questions and making a presentation. I think those things are very valuable for people to kind of meet in a setting and get their questions answered, and thank everybody that took the time to plan it and be there that night. So, moving on to my reports, I attended the WCMC had an executive board meeting last week and basically went through their regular business and planned for their next meeting or next event, which is the legislative breakfast. And I think Tim sent an email to the board. The WCMC has an annual legislative breakfast. It's Saturday, February 8th in the morning. It's early in the morning, but it goes by pretty quickly. We're fortunate oftentimes to have many federal, state, county officials there to have a chance to talk to them directly. The legislative committee of the WCMC does a good job of advancing legislative priorities, and it's always a good show to have a good show of strength of elected officials there. So I plan on attending that morning. If anyone else is available to go that Saturday morning, please let Tim know. We need to RSVP by this week. So, and I wanted to tease one other event also with the School District 102 Park Junior High has their Heroes versus Heroes basketball game on Monday, February 3rd at 4 o'clock in the North Gym at Park Junior High, which is actually in the Grange Park. But this is their Special Olympics basketball team, which is quite a team, is taking on some local police and fire and first responders in a basketball game, which will be very, very memorable. So they're trying to pack the gym that afternoon. I know it's a tough time, but it's 4 o'clock on Monday, February 3rd. There'll be prizes, raffles, and things like this. So if you can come out and support District 102 and the Special Olympics, and our Brookfield Police and firefighters are going to be participating, and they might need some cheering on, so. I'll share the flyer with Tim, and maybe we can put it out to everybody, so. Okay, that ends the reports of special committees at this point. I would entertain a motion to pass the omnibus agenda.
So moved.
Second.
The motion was made by trustee Cote, second by trustee Kaluzny. Roll call, please.
Trustee Ketchmark?
Aye.
Trustee Cote?
Aye.
Trustee Hendricks?
Aye.
Trustee Narimatsu?
Aye.
Trustee Gilhooley?
Aye.
Trustee Kaluzny?
Aye.
Motion passes.
Thank you. Now, moving on to the items under regular business. I'd entertain a motion to pass an ordinance for a text amendment to Chapter 62 zoning, Section 217 of the zoning code, stationary districts, general design.
So moved.
Second.
The motion was made by trustee Gilhooley, second by trustee Hendricks. Any board members have any additional questions or comments?
No, it seems like it makes sense for an update. I think we talked about it during committee of the whole, and sounds like zoning agreed.
They did.
Yes.
If I could just clarify one thing, President Garvey.
Sure.
The normal course of these things, yeah, the board talked about this committee of the whole because we're the petitioner. Normally, we'd bring this back to a committee of the whole before we'd ask you to vote on it, but there is a time issue here with the development project that is holding, that this could hold up if we don't, if the board doesn't vote on it tonight. This one, if you vote for it, yes, then it will not slow down the development process.
And thank you for clarifying that, Tim. We do have, as always, we have in front of us, and it's available in our packet, a very detailed memo explaining what the nature of it was and the Planning and Zoning Commission's recommendation and staff, so. Okay, any other questions or comments from the board? All right, we have a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Trustee Ketchmark?
Aye.
Trustee Cote?
Aye.
Trustee Hendricks?
Aye.
Trustee Narimatsu?
Aye.
Trustee Gilhooley?
Aye.
Trustee Kaluzny?
Aye.
Motion passes.
Thank you. The next item, I'd entertain a motion to pass a resolution to approve and authorize the execution of a professional design engineering services agreement by and between Edwin Hancock Engineering Company and the Village of Brookfield for the Public Works Department parking lot improvements.
So moved.
Second.
Motion was made by trustee Cote, second by trustee Kaluzny. Any questions or comments on this? Hearing no comments or questions, roll call, please.
Trustee Ketchmark?
Aye.
Trustee Cote?
Aye.
Trustee Hendricks?
Aye.
Trustee Narimatsu?
Aye.
Trustee Gilhooley?
Aye.
Trustee Kaluzny?
Aye.
Motion passes.
Thank you. And the final item under regular business, I'd entertain a motion to pass a resolution to approve and authorize the execution of a professional design engineering agreement by and between Edwin Hancock Engineering Company and the Village of Brookfield for the completion of Phase 1 and Phase 2 engineering for the Maple Avenue resurfacing project.
So moved.
Second.
Motion was made by trustee Narimatsu, second by trustee Gilhooley. Any questions or comments from the board?
I had a question about this one. When was this, if we weren't going for this contingency funding, when would this be getting resurfaced? Or when was the schedule originally planned for?
Yeah, it's a great question. So in.
If you, I'm sorry, could you just state your name for the, we know who you are, but.
It's a great question. So in 2024, we applied for 6 different projects throughout the village. Maple was one of them. This allowed us to exercise contingency funding from the Central Council of Mayors, and a couple of them were programmed. Maple was not, so it's not on the 5-year plan. We were recently told that there may be some contingency funding available end of this year that we could use to get on the letting for either November or January. The reason why we chose Maple to go after is it's within our lead service area, so we already have done all the lead services, so that's not an issue that we'd have to cross. Some of the other streets, we haven't gotten to that point yet. And with the lead services being done, now there's a lot of patching in the street. It's kind of pushed up the timeline a little bit from where we had it. I think initially we thought maybe it could last till 2030. With now 50 patches in the pavement, it's something that probably could use some improvement sooner, especially if we're able to get 80% funding for the project. So that was the push to go after Maple.
Great. And one other question was, I know that there's also, that kind of intersection is part of the 31st and Maple larger project that we're looking at. Is there anything with that resurfacing that needs to be considered?
Yes, yeah, it's another good question. We would stay out of 31st, the right of way. We would stop prior to that so that we don't have any redundant work they're in the phase one of that right now. It's a little bit further down the line, so, yeah, that would be part of what we look into, but the goal would be to stop short so that we can build onto it with the next project.
Great, thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments from the board? And let's keep our fingers crossed. This is another example of having the foresight to kind of plan these things ahead of time if this funding becomes available. I mean, I think everyone's familiar with the patching from the lead services on Maple, and it would be nice to be able to get it fixed early and with an 80% federal match, so.
One thing I do want to add, just to do a little bragging on behalf of the village of Brookfield, is I said we did do 6 applications. I was just looking into it the other day, I was talking with Derek, and of the 15 communities that are part of the Central Council of Mayors, there were only 15 applications total, and Brookfield was 6 of those. So, yeah, we were just looking at that the other day, but it's just kind of goes to show how much effort staff and the board has gone through for supporting us in putting these together and the amount of funding that we are receiving. Maple Avenue is a $2.4 million project is what we had the estimate at, and village funding would be $600,000, so only a quarter of that. So something that I thought was cool recently that I wanted to share.
Thank you.
That's great.
Trustee Cote, did you have something else?
I did have a question. NICOR, is NICOR still replacing gas lines in that area? And when they're replacing the gas lines, are they doing are they affecting the street? I don't know. I know they were going down Grand, what was it, last year? Were they affecting the street as well? Would that be more patching or?
Potentially, and that'd be what we would do as part of phase 1, phase 2. There's an exhaustive utility coordination effort, so
Okay.
we would design Julie right away. We reach out to any utilities that are on that, within that stretch of Maple, and then we would coordinate with them. And what we like to do is ask them if they've got any plans for improvement within the next 5 years, let us know so we can kind of incorporate that and take that into account. So
Awesome, thank you.
that'd be part of that process.
Any other questions or comments from the board? Thank you, Dan. We have a motion, a second. Roll call, please.
Trustee Ketchmark?
Aye.
Trustee Cote?
Aye.
Trustee Hendricks?
Aye.
Trustee Narimatsu?
Aye.
Trustee Gilhooley?
Aye.
Trustee Kaluzny?
Aye.
Motion passes.
Thank you. That ends the items we have under regular business. Tim, do you have anything with the manager's report?
No report.
Okay, nothing further on the village board agenda. At 7:07 PM, I'd entertain a motion to adjourn the village board meeting.
So moved.
Second?
Motion to adjourn was made by trustee Cote, second by trustee Gilhooley. Roll call, please.
Trustee Ketchmark?
Aye.
Trustee Cote?
Aye.
Trustee Hendricks?
Aye.
Trustee Narimatsu?
Aye.
Trustee Gilhooley?
Aye.
Trustee Kaluzny?
Aye.
Motion passes.
Okay, we're adjourned at 7:08. We'll go into the committee of the whole meeting shortly. Thank you.